Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this very special talk today on acidity. My name is Reena Rupani. I'm your host for today. I was somebody like that, and I had severe acidity. I'm sure if you all are going through this, you know you can't sleep well, your heart is burning, you're uncomfortable, you don't feel like eating anything, you feel pukish, you can't sleep at night. And that was happening on and off until I had to go to the doctor, which was something I would avoid like anything. So I had to go to the doctor, and obviously, the doctor just gave me a prescription of pills. And I was very, very unhappy because I didn't want to take pills. I'm a very anti pill person. And I also had this desire that, I want to grow up. And I mean, when I become older, I don't want to have any treatments. I don't want to have any sicknesses. So I always had this dream, that I should live a life without medicines and everything. So it was at that time that a little listing in the newspaper took my eye, caught my attention, and it was what do you call it? A little movie screening with lunch. It was on Sunday, and it was, I said, okay, let's go learn a little bit about health and stop. Probably I didn't have to cook that day, so that kind of got me to go there. And then when I went there, Dr. Nandita was there, and the movie was Forks Over Knives. And when I was watching the film, I said, forget it. I'm not going to be able to make these changes. Leave it. Let it be. It's not possible. So then I, uh, you know, listened to Dr. Nandita. But later, when I had the lunch, that was the time when something inside me changed, because I still remember the lunch. And this I'm talking about 10 years ago. Okay. 10 years ago. So I had lasagna, which was dairy free. I had lovely, delicious salads, and I had ice cream, and there was Thai curry. And that's when I realized, oh my God, food can be so delicious. Healthy food can be so delicious, because generally we feel healthy food is very steamed, very boring. I said, chalo, let me try this. So I went home. That day I had that meal. I went home. I did the changes that were only one big change I did was I stopped consuming anything which came from an animal, including dairy. I was anyway a vegetarian. And literally, trust me, in 3 days, my acidity just disappeared. And I was not taking the medicines. Okay. I just stopped dairy, and my acidity literally disappeared. And after that, I got very excited, and I went on the SHARAN website. I started making all the other changes that Dr. Nandita is going to be telling you about. And after that, I lost about 17 kilos of weight in 8 months. And it's been 10 years now, and I've been able to maintain and sustain that weight. I have a 21-year-old daughter. We share our clothes. She hates it, and I absolutely love it. My husband's cholesterol tablets stopped. My parents' diabetes and blood pressure tablets, which they were having for 10 years, actually stopped in 21 days. Okay, that's the power of the diet that Dr. Nandita is going to talk about. It'll not only help ease your acidity, but will help you in lots of other ways as well. So without much ado, please allow me to introduce Dr. Shah today. She is the founder of SHARAN, and she's also the author of the bestseller Reversing Diabetes in 21 Days. Apart from that, she has also received the Nari Shakti Puraskar, which is the highest award for civilian women in our country. And why did she receive that? Because under her and her team's guidance, thousands of people have been able to reverse or prevent diseases. And she herself started this journey by reversing her own disease, which was an autoimmune disease, where she was actually bedridden, and she healed herself only with all the things that she's going to be talking about. So if an autoimmune disease, which is so chronic like Guillain-Barré, can be reversed, then acidity to jaldi chali jayegi. So focus on what she's saying, make your notes, and we'll take up questions at the end. So we would like you to focus on the talk and make your notes so that you can start changing right away and say goodbye to acidity very, very soon. So over to you, Dr. Nandita. Thank you.
Thank you, Reena, for that beautiful introduction. And thank you all for joining me for this talk. I really hope that, like Reena, if you're suffering from acidity, you just get better right away, because small changes make big differences. So Reena already told you about SHARAN and what is SHARAN. And, as a doctor, I recognize that animals in nature know how to be well because they follow their instinct, they listen to their bodies. But sometimes we don't. So SHARAN is all about eating and living the way we've been designed to by nature. It's not naturopathy or any other pathy. It's just simple things that most people already know. But because, as Reena said, we're living in a culture of disease, we don't really always follow. So today we're going to talk about acidity and heartburn. And thank you, those of you who shared that you're better. I really thank you. So what is acidity and heartburn? Acidity heartburn is a burning sensation anywhere between the stomach and the chest and neck and throat, right? And in general, if we go to doctors, they treat acidity with antacids. And I was just doing a little bit of research because I always work without medicines, and I'll be telling you how you can reverse acidity without medicines. But, if you have too many antacids, there are a lot of side effects. For example, some of the antacids have calcium and aluminum, and these cause constipation. And other antacids have magnesium, and this causes diarrhea. And these medicines can also cause muscle weakness or twitching or pain, especially if they contain magnesium. And they can cause risk of infections because, our stomach produces acid in order to digest protein, but also in order to kill all the bacteria on our food. Every animal's stomach does that. And if we reduce the acid, then the bacteria can grow and we can get problems. And then, when our body is acidic and we stop that acidity, we have calcium in the blood. And especially if the antacids contain calcium, and this causes high calcium levels in the blood, and then this calcium goes out through the kidneys, through the urine, and can cause kidney stones. So this is another problem. And, in order to neutralize the acid, sometimes we leach calcium out of the bones, and this can also cause osteoporosis. So there's so many reasons that we should take care of acidity, because every single symptom is our body telling us that we need to change something. Our body always guides us through simple symptoms, and if we don't make changes, through shouts out with more difficult symptoms. And so it's really important to listen to symptoms and not say shut up with medicines to our body, but rather figure out how we can heal them. So in SHARAN, whenever we want to heal a problem, we try to understand what is the cause of that problem and remove the cause. So this is exactly what we're going to do today with acidity. What are the causes of acidity? And number one is too much protein. It's really hard to imagine that too much protein can be bad. But if you remember your own life, the day you eat too much paneer, or the day you eat too much chicken or too much cheese, you may have acidity. And that's because the stomach produces acid in order to digest protein. Now, instinctively, if we were on a farm or an orchard or in nature, we feel like picking fruits and vegetables. These are instinctively our foods. But if you see a chicken walk by, or a goat or a cow, our mouth doesn't water. These are not our foods. We can't pounce on them. We can't tear them apart. And like all other carnivores or omnivores, we cannot eat chickens, goats, and cows or pigs raw, right? Not even fish. And truly, not even milk. And to come to think of it, milk, every baby loves their mother's milk. They don't want to leave their mother's milk. But if you give them cow's milk, no child appreciates it. And that's why mothers put sugar, cocoa, all kinds of flavorings to push that milk down the baby's throat or the child's throat, right? But if it was supposed to be our food, we would instinctively like it. So we need to eat foods that we are more instinctively attracted to, and too much protein is one of the biggest causes of acidity. Also, overeating. You know that those days when you go to the wedding and try to taste every single dish, the chances are you're going to get acidity, right? And then fatty foods. If you eat fried foods and too much oil, then you're likely to get acidity. Spicy food like lots of chilies can cause acidity. Tea, coffee, alcohol, tobacco, these are acidic in our body. All the things that are addictive are acidic. And so if we consume these, we are creating an acid environment in our body. And so these things should be stopped as well. And I can't miss medications. So many medications cause acidity, which is why doctors prescribe medicines along with antacids. So remember, medicines have side effects, and then antacids can have all those side effects that we talked about, right? Now, it's really important to get rid of acidity because there are possible complications. So acidity means acid in the stomach. In the stomach, there's supposed to be acid. And stomach knows how to deal with acid in most cases. But if it goes into the esophagus, the tube that goes from the mouth into the stomach, if it goes there, then it causes inflammation and burning and esophagitis. And when you have acid in a place where it's not supposed to be, for example, if someone throws acid on your skin, then you get that scar tissue. Well, the same thing happens in the esophagus. And so the esophagus becomes strictured and narrower. And so that's harmful as well because the food doesn't go down easily. And this kind of regular acidity can cause precancerous changes as well in the esophagus. So it's so important that we combat acidity, not through antacids, but through understanding the cause of acidity and removing that. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that later. But many people have common solutions to acidity. One of them is antacids, we already talked about. But haven't you heard of people having cold milk for acidity? And have you noticed that if you've had cold milk for acidity, the acidity gets better right away because the cold milk neutralizes the acid in the stomach? But then the milk requires acid to get digested. And so the cold milk in the stomach creates a situation where more acid has to be produced. And curds or yogurt as well, same thing, right? It causes more acid production in the stomach. So, you saw Reina and how she got better with her acidity just by changing her diet. And now I want to stop for a moment and introduce you to Veena. Veena is another one of our facilitators.
And hello, everyone. I'm so happy today to share about my plant-based journey with you all and how I reversed my hyperacidity. It all started 10 years back. So let's go into the flashback first. Before 10 years, on and off, I used to suffer with acidity and was taking Antacids for that. Most people think that acidity is so normal and everybody has it, so nothing to worry. Even I was one of them. Little did I knew that after a couple of years, this acidity is going to take a toll on my health. So it kept on increasing. And after a few months, I noticed that even my visits to the doctors also increased. After a year or so, it happened that there was a swelling in my throat and it kept on increasing. But I thought that it might be due to the cold. So I kept on doing some home remedies, but it didn't help me. And there was a problem swallowing the food. So I was on the liquid diet mostly and could not swallow a single morsel of food. Then there was such a stage that it was unbearable for me. And I thought that it is not cold, it's something else. I rushed to the doctor and he performed some tests and revealed that I had GERD. He also kept me on proton pump inhibitors immediately. So those heavy medicines my body could not tolerate. And some side effects even started, like migraine and all. There was very bad taste in my mouth, and I was not able to do my even daily work. It was very tough time for me in my life. So about 3 months, this treatment lasted. Though it gave me temporary relief, but it did not cure my acidity. After that, things started improving little bit. But whenever I used to eat boiled food only, and whenever I eat little tomatoes or any sour fruits, again, acidity used to come back. So I was desperately in search of some healthy alternatives or some home remedies. And I came across plant-based diet. I took no time on deciding to get on the board. And I talked to my family. They all wholeheartedly, they supported me. And we thought that we don't have to lose anything. We just have to do is to eat good food. That's it. So we decided to go for it for a month as an experiment. So the very next day, I started doing changes overnight. Yes, overnight, because I had just 1 month in my hand. So the next day, I removed all the milk and milk products from my refrigerator, like milk, cheese, paneer, curd. And then there was a turn for oil shelf. So I removed all the oil bottles, ghee, and of course, olive oil, which I used to think very, very healthy. Then there was turn for processed foods. So all the sauces and ketchups, salad dressings, and packaged foods, even fried snack packets, chips, my daughter's favorite, made their way out of my kitchen. And the very next day, I started incorporating more and more fruits and vegetables in the form of salads and smoothies and soups and sabzis. Even I started little bit nuts and different types of oil seeds like pumpkin seeds, chia seeds, sunflower seeds, and sesame seeds, flax seeds. After slowly things started improving, and within a span of a week, I even don't remember when my acidity disappeared along with migraine and some joint pains. Even I started feeling energetic. Not only me, my whole family felt so energy. And even my husband got benefited in his diabetes. He lost approximately 18 kgs of weight in, I think, 9 to 10 months. And I lost 5 kg. It was like a miracle to me. And till now, I haven't visited doctor for my acidity. And after a month, we sat and reviewed whether we want to continue with this lifestyle or not. But unanimously, we agreed to the point that we don't want to go back to the previous lifestyle. So our plant-based journey is still going on, and it's very, very strong. Thank you.
Thank you, Veena. And I just want to tell everyone that Veena is one of our cooking instructors, and she does fabulous cooking. So, Veena, I'm sure it wasn't very difficult for you, right? But I can imagine that all the people here are thinking like, how am I going to clean my kitchen out of all the dairy and all the oil and everything? So I'm going to guide you on how you can do that. It's not that difficult. Even if you don't know how to cook, we make it easy for you. So I'll be telling you at the end how you can do it. So what are the solutions for acidity? And Veena already told you that she stopped all dairy, and that's because she was vegetarian. But we need to stop all high protein foods because the biggest cause of acidity is high protein, right? So stop all meat, fish, chicken, eggs, Then replace all the dairy with plant-based milk or cheese or butter or cream, and if you go to our website, we have recipes for replacing all of these things. So you can look right in the beginning. I'll show you at the end of this where to look for these recipes. And then avoid large portions and heavy meals. Like even if you want to taste something that you really like, but it's not the right food, then have a little. Don't have too much so that you don't suffer from the problem. And avoid fried and fatty foods. And so we show people how you can make all the things that we used to love. I used to be a lover of fried foods like samosas and, all those snacks that people eat in the evenings. But all of these can be made without any oil. And then chew your food very well and avoid eating quickly. You'll see that if you chew your food and eat slowly, you'll be eating less. Eat at least 2 hours before bedtime so that you avoid that regurgitation. Veena was talking about how she had GERD, and I'm going to talk to you about GERD very quick soon now, but she had regurgitation. It was going from the stomach into the esophagus. GERD is gastroesophageal regurgitation disease, So it was going upwards. So if you eat at least 2 hours before, then food is going down from your stomach into your duodenum. There's no chance of it to go up. But if you eat a heavy meal and then go straight to bed, then you might suffer from acidity. Avoid lying down after eating. Maybe after eating, you can have a short walk instead. Elevate your upper body. If you have too much of regurgitation, then make sure that your upper body you have 2 or 3 pillows when you lie down so that it doesn't go upwards. Stop smoking. Cigarette smoke relaxes the esophageal valve, allowing the acid to go upwards. And practice stress reduction techniques, because so many of us get acidity when we're stressed, right? Now we're going to talk about problems related to acidity. And one of them is GERD, which Veena talked about. And, she was the person who was eating plenty of curds and yogurt in order to subdue her acidity. And so when she switched to SHARAN lifestyle and took out all the curds and yogurt, she got better right away, right? So GERD means that this, here you can see that the acid can go into the esophagus. Now, another similar complaint is hiatus hernia. In general, the stomach lies just below the diaphragm. And so the diaphragm has an opening in it through which the esophagus goes from the chest into the abdomen, and the stomach is in the abdomen and the esophagus is in the chest. And sometimes this opening gets a little bigger and part of the stomach herniates into the chest. And now it's very easy for the acid to go into the esophagus. Now, if someone has hiatus hernia, then what they need to do is make sure that the stomach stays in the abdominal region. And for that, you can just lift your head on pillows when you're lying down so that, your head is a little higher and the acid stays down. Of course, if the hiatus hernia is really bad, then surgery may be required, but otherwise it can usually be handled just by positioning. And then peptic ulcers. Peptic ulcers could be ulcers in the stomach where acid is secreted, and ulcers in the duodenum, the part just below the stomach here. You can see my arrow just below the stomach where the food is going to go after the proteins digest in the stomach. The other foods all the food goes into the duodenum where other foods will get digested. like the fat gets digested in the duodenum. So the common causes of peptic ulcers are non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. These are used very commonly. And Helicobacter pylori. This is a bacteria which causes peptic ulcers and can cause a variety of symptoms like pain in the stomach, bad taste in the mouth, nausea, a sense of fullness in the stomach and heartburn, and increased bleeding of the gums, belching, and decreased appetite. Now, peptic ulcers are bad enough because of the pain that they cause, but then they can cause worse problems because they can cause internal bleeding. They can also cause perforation. Like if the ulcer breaks open through the stomach wall, then the contents of the stomach can enter into the abdominal cavity. And this causes peritonitis. And this is an emergency that needs to be treated right away because you can't have acid in the abdominal cavity. And then because of, the acidity that the peptic ulcers cause, it can cause strictures while healing. And so it can cause stenosis, a narrowing of the gap between the stomach and the duodenum, as you see over here. If it's a duodenal ulcer, or if it's a peptic ulcer in the stomach, then it can cause strictures in the stomach, and that's not very good either. And eventually, it's possible that some peptic ulcers can convert into cancers. Yes. Captain Joseph, would you tell them? Captain Joseph is also one of our facilitators, and he's a leader of many of our retreats. And Captain Joseph, would you like to tell them about your story with acidity and GERD and peptic ulcer?
Yeah, actually, really blessed. That is the first word I want to use, which changed my life. Otherwise, I grown up in a house where I see my father. I forgot what he had, but after seeing Dr. Nandita's talk, then I realized, peptic ulcer. He keeps saying peptic ulcer, and he used to throw every day he used to omit and takes out whatever food, I don't know, and he lost his teeth and all. And the Digene or ranitidine, that is a medicine, it's all around in our house. We all, whether it is after marriage, even Rose also, my wife was also using the same medicine. We thought it's a culture to have ranitidine. It is a common, common thing to have anything after the meal. And I was severely acidic. By night, 2 o'clock or something, I used to get a severe pain.
And Captain, we should tell them that you come from a Catholic family, right? From
yeah, I'm just coming to that. I'll tell them. So I used to get severe acidity. It's so painful. And, as anyone, we tried cold milk or curd. Then somehow I landed up in having fruits in the night. So I keep a lot of fruits in the next to the bed. So whenever I get a pain, I started having that. So then I did an endoscopy. Then I understood that I have a pylori disease and a lot of medicines and all. So this was my life. It's like a BC and AD. This was before SHARAN. Then 2015, boom, that SHARAN happened. And so I changed my lifestyle for ethical reason after seeing the documentary called Earthlings. So I'm a Catholic, Mallu from Kerala, and Fauji. Very bad combination. You name the animal I used to have. I don't want to name which animal because it will be scare you off. Next time when you see me, oh, this guy had all these things. So I'm not mentioning which medicine, which animals I ate. But 2015, January 17, when I came back from my flying, I was flying in Doha at that time, came back, Rose told me, can we watch the documentary called Earthlings? Morning, 5:30, landed, 8:30, I am sitting to watch the documentary called Earthlings. So I request everybody to watch. If you have a little bit of compassion in your life, if little bit something is there, you should watch, because the documentary starts with showing Holocaust, slavery, woman suppression, all these things. And if you feel for that, then remaining part of that documentary, you should feel for it. Till that time, I was ignorant of what I was doing. Because we had a poultry farm, we had cows, we had a farm and all these things. So I used to even kill chicken. And after watching this documentary, I said, no more. I mean, now I cannot see. Till now, it was conditioned to do all these things. But after watching that, I said, no, I'm not going to be part of this cruelty anymore. Nothing I knew what I'm going to get into it. Okay. But trust me, I got whole world back. I was obese, officially stamped, because as a pilot, I have to get my medicals done. So if you cross some certain weight, then they tell you to reduce weight and come. Even cross that limit, then they write obese, then they have to do some extra tests and all. So we used to be praying to clear the medicals. You know, if your medicals are gone, then your license is gone. So you're jobless then. And within 3 months, I lost 5 kg, and total within, say, less than 1 year, I don't remember how much, but I lost totally 15 to 16 kgs. And so this is a side effect of stopping animal product. And I didn't know that I lost a lot of other diseases, because when I used to get a cold, it doesn't go for 1 month. No, that nagging cold, I don't know if anybody can relate to it. Is not running cold, but your sinus, headache, all these things, it's irritating. So I used to always carry homeopath medicine to whenever I go for flying. So I used to go for 6 weeks flying and all. So after 2 tours, I saw, yeah, I'm not using the medicine. So matlab, for last 6 months, I didn't get a cold. Oh, wow. Then my stomach upset, stomach acidity gone, skin cleared up. And I had a piles operation in 2010. Then thereafter, that stomach issues again was coming back. Again, that gone. But the best thing which happened to me is my energy I got. Because I was, in the college days and school, I used to play football. I'm a good player. I used to play. So before becoming Sharanite or before this, I had gone to play football, and within 10 minutes, I was out. I could not play, and I was falling. And my wife, my daughters were standing outside to watch me, and they were asking, "Papa, we hype up. We think that you are young and you can do." And that was my worst day in my life. But now I can play football for 2 hours, badminton, you name the game, I can play. So the best thing happened to me is getting my energy back. Forget about acidity, forget about any other diseases. If you get your energy back, you're sorted. You can just do this for your life. And my dream is to walk to the grave, and I visualize that, and I'm there. And thank you, doctor, for giving me the opportunity to share my story. I really appreciate if you try this for 15 days, 30 days, you are going to rock. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain, for sharing your story. I'm sure that people are inspired because, if you're a Catholic, hardcore non-vegetarian, and overnight you could turn to vegan, then if you could do it, anybody can do it, right? Before we end, I want to tell you that SHARAN has a 5-point plan. That means we should eat only plant-based, and that you got from Rena's talk and Veena's talk and Captain's talk. And I have to say that I was vegetarian. I used to have a fair amount of dairy, but luckily I never suffered from acidity, but I suffered from worse problems. And then whole food. Everything should be whole, ideally. That means all the animals in nature eat their food whole, but we are the only ones who make our food less nutritious before eating by refining. No more refining. Avoid peeling vegetables and fruits. Avoid eating white rice and white flour and sugar and oil. And, instead of that, have whole foods like coconut or peanuts or sesame can be used in dishes instead of oil, or dates and raisins can be used instead of sugar. And of course, we can use whole wheat flour or whole unpolished rice instead of white rice, right? So we want to avoid any refined foods. Even juices where the fiber is removed. The fiber is very, very important. And of course, we are the only species that sprays our food with poison so that other animals don't eat it and then we eat it. I mean, other animals are smarter than us? No. We should eat organic, and we should always check and supplement vitamin B12 and vitamin D. In fact, even vitamin B12 deficiency can cause acidity. Now, if you have acidity, how can SHARAN support you? So number one, we have recipes on our website. More than 600 whole food plant-based recipes that you can use right away. And I'm going to show you how to find them. Then we have publications that you can download for free and read and get onto the track with more information. And we have cooking classes regularly and also free talks like this, but the cooking classes will help you change your way of cooking to be acidity free. And we also have consultations, and there's a phone number here that you can dial for consultations, but I'll also show you on our website how to find it. So if you go to About Us, then you can go to Publications here, and here you can download a few free publication ebooks. And if you want the hard copy, you can even buy them. Okay, so there's timeless recipes, and it's always handy to have a recipe book in your kitchen. So you can buy it or you can download the free e-version. It's available in Hindi and in Gujarati as well. Right? So these are some of our books that you can download. This is my book, Reversing Diabetes in 21 Days. And unfortunately, or fortunately, it's published by Penguin. And so it can't be downloaded for free, but it's a really good book that's not too expensive, just 300 rupees. Now, we also have health programs. So we have a lot of events. You can go to our events section and see all the different kinds of events. And, whether you want to make cakes and cookies or Southern millet delights, or even if you want to make, different dishes from millets or crackers and dips and chatpata oil-free chaat class. We have so many classes that can help you, and detox programs and so on and so forth. So have a look over here. And we also have consultations. So if anyone needs a consultation, because maybe you don't just have acidity, you may have more than acidity, I hope not, but we can help you with consultations as well, right? And of course, we have our recipe section, which has so many recipes, but here are the dairy and meat alternatives that you can go to and start changing your kitchen step by step. If not, immediately. Reina changed immediately, Veena changed immediately, and Captain changed immediately as soon as they heard. And so can you. We are open for questions.
Okay, doctor, we have a few which have come in directly to me. So Shikha is asking, I sometimes feel acidic when I eat Kabuli chana chaat.
Right. So sometimes Kabuli chana chaat may be full of fatty things. Maybe it has yogurt, right? Maybe it's just too heavy. So maybe it has something made of oil. So let's just see how we can make Kabuli chana chaat or different chaats from our recipes instead.
Dr. Kriti is asking, how can we make tea and coffee without milk? Should almond milk be added?
Okay, so if you heard my talk, you know that tea and coffee causes acidity. And so ideally, it's better not to have tea and coffee. And I know this is very scary. I conduct a 21-day health retreat where we do all the tests at the beginning and all the tests at the end. And all the people are just like you. They have tea and coffee every day. And so when they come, they are a little uncertain about how to stop the tea and coffee. But we start the day with green smoothies, which is totally alkaline. And nobody in all these years, 17 or 18, 21-day programs, nobody has suffered for more than 4 days of withdrawal symptoms from tea and coffee. So wouldn't it be great to get off these addictive substances like tea and coffee? We all know that it's not something great. Otherwise, we would be giving it to our kids, but we don't, right?
Dr. Neetu is asking, I felt bloated when having a green smoothie.
Yes, Neetu, that's true. I do understand that some people feel bloated with the green smoothie, and that's because your body isn't used to fiber. So here's what you can do to prevent that bloating with the green smoothie. Number 1, don't mix too many fruits, and don't mix melons with other fruits in the green smoothie. Number 2, don't have anything else with the green smoothie except for fruit. For example, if you eat fruit along with, say, Kabuli chana chaat or anything else that comes in your mind, say, you know, often we go out to eat and then we have a fruit shake or a fruit juice along with some Kabuli chana chaat or something else, then that chaat takes a long time to digest in the stomach because it's protein. And while it's digesting, the fruit is fermenting and can cause bloating. So we don't want to do that. So if you're having bloating, maybe you don't have too many different things at the same time. Now, a few more things that can cause bloating is probiotics. People think they're good. Actually, they cause bloating. But if you're not on any of these, then introducing fiber when you're not used to fiber can also cause bloating. And if that's the case, introduce it slowly, one step at a time, and you will get that bloating will come down. Okay.
Thank you, Doctor. Dr. Debapriya is asking, can gluten cause acidity?
Yes, if people are gluten intolerant, gluten can cause acidity. And you know why people are gluten intolerant? Because if you see green fields of wheat and rice, our mouth doesn't water, right? Wheat and rice are not our foods. So if we put in wrong fuel in our body, we'll get problems. Just like if we have a car that runs on petrol and put in diesel, right? So that's why all these people got better when they stopped eating foods that were not meant for our species. Same with wheat. If it causes acidity, we should stop it.
Dr. Priyanka is asking, I get severe headache and my body burns when I feel acidic.
So Priyanka, please try everything that I taught you and see if you don't get better. And really, if you don't, then we can do a consultation, but you should be able to get better.
Dr. Neeta is asking, is kombucha tea good for acidity?
You know, whenever we are trying to solve a problem, we should remove the causes of the problem. And the cause of acidity is never kombucha tea deficiency. Just as the cause of acidity is not cold milk deficiency, or the cause of acidity is not antacid deficiency. So if we want to solve acidity, we should remove the causes. Do you remember the causes I told you? Right? And in case you joined late, don't forget that this recording will be sent to you.
Namit is asking, is it advisable to have fruits at night? Asking because there are conflicting views about this.
So Namit, you know, we always have to listen to our body. Now, ideally, you should not have a meal and then have fruit for dessert, because then the fruit is going to ferment on top of your meal. But if you have only fruit for dinner, or just green smoothie and fruit for dinner, and don't miss our green smoothie recipe, it's on our website. If you have only green smoothie and fruit for dinner, you don't need to worry about anything. You can have fruit instead of any meal anytime.
My Alpa saying my son stays out of at home in a hostel, eats tiffin, has acidity.
Yeah, so Alpa, here's what we can do. I stayed in a hostel when I was in medical college, and I had a little stove. Like that time it was an electric stove, but now we have induction stoves. So you can have an induction stove in the room and a blender and make a few things yourself if possible, to stay out of eating all that oily food, because honestly in a hostel there's no way out. Now, having said that, there may be a way out, because in many cities like Mumbai, Bangalore, Surat, etc., there are tiffin services that can deliver the food to the place. So, if you can't eat the food and you don't want to get sick in the hostel, then you can go to, you can get a tiffin service, maybe. And otherwise, green smoothies are easy to make for anyone. They're delicious and they can be made on the spot. And at least 2 meals can be green smoothies and salad, and then eat a little bit of whatever there is to start with. And of course, avoid all the animal products.
Meeti's asking, my daughter has GERD for last 10 years. She's
Right.
17 right now, but
Yes.
has some other health issues as well. Can I get a personalized consultation for her?
Absolutely, Niti. That's the way to go. So please go to our website and book a consultation where I told you to. And if you haven't taken the phone number down, it's on our website too. So if you don't want to go through the whole reading, you just call the person. Nupur will answer and she will help you.
Mruga is asking, does acidity cause headaches and vomiting?
It can. Acidity can cause a whole number of symptoms like burning, headaches, vomiting, even bilious vomiting if it's because of peptic ulcers. So yes, it can cause.
Vivek is saying, I have acidity whenever I'm stressed. I'm a vegetarian and no tea and coffee.
So Vivek, vegetarians and non-vegetarians get the same disease because meat and milk have the same properties: high protein, high fat, and no fiber. So the first step is to become plant-based. The second step is to avoid all the oil and the refined foods. And if you can, become organic, because, the chemical pesticides also cause acidity. And what was the rest of the question he asked?
I'm veggie, no tea, coffee.
Yeah. And it's a great thing that you're not having tea and coffee. You can get well.
Dr. Siddhi is asking, can you mix bananas and berries in smoothies?
Absolutely, yes. And especially, for example, if you live abroad, and sometimes people think that eating organic is very expensive abroad. So here's a simple way. You buy frozen organic fruit, and often the frozen organic fruit like berries or, cut fruit is cheap because the organic fruit is frozen when it's in bulk. And so it's less expensive than buying fresh. And remember that we need to have a little bit of frozen fruit in our smoothie anyway. So then you don't freeze the bananas, you use fresh bananas and the green leaves and the frozen berries, and it makes fabulous smoothies. I've done this when I was in America.
Dr. Priyanka is saying, I try to follow salad and green smoothie, but when I fail to follow and have regular food, I feel severely acidic.
But maybe it's because your regular food, Priyanka, is oily and refined and so on. So let's start making our regular food healthier as well.
Dr. Ruchi is asking, is it okay to add seed milk in green smoothie?
No. See, green smoothie is a very special thing. Green smoothie is a way to deliver high quality nutrients in your body. Now, seed milk has protein, and if you combine it with fruit, then when the seed milk digests, the fruit is going to ferment and it will cause bloating, or it can cause bloating. Why do we want to add seed milk to green smoothie? You know, the best milk in the world is banana milk. You put bananas or frozen bananas in a blender with a little bit of water, and you got a nice, sweet, white liquid that tastes better than any seed milk. And then you add the green leaves and the fruit, and you've got a fabulous milkshake where the greens don't even taste, but they're blended so that all the cellulose walls are broken and you get all the nutrients. What could be better than that?
Dr. Rakhi is saying it is very cold in our place, so we need to drink something hot.
I agree, Rakhi, and I've heard people say this before. So when you wake up, start the day with a warm herbal infusion or a herbal tea. And then if you can't have a cold green smoothie, forget it. Just put fresh fruit and green leaves into the blender with water. And if it's still too cold for you, slightly warm water, right? It should not be hot, obviously. A smoothie cannot be hot. And then blend it and it will taste delicious as well. Now, if it's not cold where you are, then the frozen fruit really brings out the taste of a green smoothie. But if it is cold, you use fruits at room temperature after that hot drink in the morning.
Dr. Ram Kumar is asking how to be motivated to stick to the plant-based diet. I have plant-based diet experience, but somehow get tempted to other foods.
Okay, so here's what I would say, and I'm sure that each one of our, facilitators who spoke today could give a different viewpoint, so I'm going to let them speak as well. But here's what I would say. First of all, why did I get motivated to stick to a plant-based diet? And for me, it was ethics. Like, any woman or any man knows that if you're a mother or a father, and if your baby did not get milk when it wanted it, how would you feel? So how can we take the milk away from a cow? Or how can we kill animals in order to eat them, right? So when this went through my mind, I stopped having milk. I was vegetarian, I stopped having milk. So, and then when, I was used to having a big glass of milk in the morning, and that would be my major breakfast, and then I would have something else. And when I stopped having milk, I felt hungry when I was just having fruit instead of milk. And a green smoothie fills you more than fruit, but I wasn't having green smoothie at that time when I started. And when I felt hungry, I just used to imagine that what it must have been for the calf to remain hungry when I was drinking the milk that was meant for it. And that motivated me. Now, I know that Reina got motivated just because her acidity went away, right? Reina, do you want to say something?
Yeah, it started with health, doctor, but it was later when I attended your whole day program and I saw those videos. I think visual really helps because we can't imagine this happening. But when you watch the videos, like I highly recommend watching Horrors of the Indian Dairy Industry. Like that, even till today, if I watch it, I get emotional because it's when you see it, you don't want to be a part of it. So I think that's something which really helped me a lot. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, and Veena, what motivated you?
Veena and Captain, could I ask you to start your videos also, please?
Yes, doctor.
So I would say that, Veena was motivated because she saw two things happening at the same time in that 1 month. That her acidity was going and her husband's diabetes was going, right, Veena?
Yes, absolutely. And even my daughter benefited in her hypothyroid. But hypothyroid, it took quite a long time. But her medicines it is reversed now. And she's off the medication now.
So Reina, remind me to answer that question about hypothyroid later on.
Yeah.
Thank you, Veena. And Captain, do you want to say what motivated you?
Actually, I stopped animal products for the cruelty part, but I started working with SHARAN because I saw a talk by Dr. Shailesh Rao at European Union Parliament that uh, per day, you can save 4,500 liters of water by going plant-based. So till that time, even though I was vegan, but I was not a proud vegan. I said, I'm not going to do, and I'm not going to talk to anyone. People are making fun of you and all these things. And so when I realized that with my one person not having animal products and it having so much effect in the climate change, reversing climate change, so there's no looking back. So immediately I came and joined SHARAN and I started working. So basically what I want to tell, I don't know the name, I forgot. You required your why you want to leave acidity, or why you want to hold the plant-based diet. The moment you get your why, everything is easy. Okay, so just sit quiet somewhere, early morning the best, and ask why you want to be healthy or why you want to reverse and what are you going to do after that. If you get that answer, everything is simple, easy, trust me.
Okay, and Ram Kumar, I want to add a few things. Like even when I turned vegan for ethical reasons, but I was still tempted towards things like samosas, and there was a samosa shop very near my office. And every time I was stressed, I would go and have samosas. So once in 2 months, I would have a samosa, and this was happening. Now, here's how it stopped by itself. That when I was dying to have samosa, I would just go and take a samosa and then eat it and see how do I feel after that and remember that. And then when the urge came to have another samosa, I would go there, but I would remember that how was I feeling last time and see, is this okay? And if it was okay, and it was okay for me for some time, like for some time, the temptation was more. But now for years and years and years, that shop exists and I've not been there because I don't want to feel like that anymore. I love the food at home. So I actually cook my own food and I go home for lunch and I go home from dinner from my office. And I feel the food at home is better than any of the food that you can get outside.
Absolutely, doctor. Dr. Namrata is asking how to cure upper abdomen discomfort and bloating. I don't have acid reflux problem. Is this a gas problem or acidity?
Okay. So, I've seen another question by Gitanjali who said that I have been vegetarian for 25 years and don't drink alcohol or smoke and don't drink milk. And I'm careful about fried foods. Most things in our kitchen are organic and I still suffer from severe acidity. So for these kind of cases, which aren't solved here with this talk, please do take a consultation, because I just want to say it's not worth suffering. And we do get results with consultation. And what we do in the consultation is exactly what I told you that we do for acidity or any other disease. We try to identify the cause of the problem and remove it. And once you remove the cause, you can never get the problem, right? Because in general, medicines never cure, right? Diabetes isn't cured by medicine. Hypertension isn't cured by medicine. But even antibiotics don't cure infections. They get rid of the bacteria, but you can get the infection again if you are not immune to it, right? So even antibiotics cannot cure. We have to recognize that medicines only control symptoms, and the only way to cure is by removing the cause. And that's what we do in consultations. We try to figure out what is the cause and remove it.
Doctor, I'm taking Priyanka and Neelu's question together. Priyanka is asking, hot weather increases my acidity, and Neelu's asking, does pineapple cause acidity?
Right. And so each person is an individual. And if pineapple causes you acidity, just remove pineapple from your diet. It means you're allergic to pineapple. But here's what I want to say, that if you're allergic to something, and that could even be hot weather, if you're allergic to any of these issues, and you change your diet over a period of time, you will find that this problem goes away. Like hot weather will no longer cause acidity, and pineapple may no longer cause acidity.
And anxiety, Supriya is asking, does that cause acid reflux, gas, and bloating?
True. Anxiety does cause acid reflux, and so we have to, perhaps we require counseling or whatever for the anxiety. But here's what I want to say, that when we are stressed, we produce adrenaline. When animals are stressed, they produce adrenaline. And do you think that the animals that are going for slaughter, or the cow whose milk is being stolen from her baby, are happy? No, they are highly stressed, they're anxious. And so they produce a lot of adrenaline. And when we consume animal products, we are getting their adrenaline as well. So even anxiety improves when you stop eating animal products.
Dr. Dipti is asking how to get the dose of protein if we stop milk-based products.
Yeah, Dipti, you know, this is a good question that everyone asks again and again. And I do want to tell you that on our website, there's under Try Vegan an FAQ section where you can learn a lot. But I'm going to answer this. Where will I get my protein? How many of you know somebody with protein deficiency? Anybody? Nobody. So that means that protein deficiency is rarer than we think it is. In fact, protein deficiency has a name. It's called kwashiorkor and only occurs in starvation, right? So you don't get protein
Doctor, you're
deficiency.
muted, Sarah.
Now we have to think, where will you get the proteins? And we have been told a lie that you need milk for proteins and you need meat for proteins, because the only thing that actually produces protein in this world is plants. Was my internet okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
The only thing that produces protein in this world is plants. That means only plants are capable of producing protein from sunshine and nitrogen in the soil and water. So, where do cows get their protein from? Plants. Where do elephants get their protein from? Plants. Where do horses get their protein from? Plants. Where will we get our proteins from? Plants. Greens have proteins, beans have protein, nuts and seeds all have protein.
Okay. So Namita is asking, in view of antacids having magnesium and calcium, are these harmful if taken for long? Are calcium and magnesium supplements safe?
Okay, thank you for that question. Are calcium and magnesium supplements safe? And the true answer is no. And the reason it's no is because when you have extra calcium, your iron goes down, etc. So in nature, when you eat things that are natural, that God has provided, you have things in balance. But now when we eat large doses of calcium, we can get kidney stones, right? So we don't want to have any supplement that we absolutely do not need. Okay?
Dr. Kopal is asking, is A2 cow milk good?
A2 cow milk is fantastic, but only for the A2 calf. Are you one of them?
Kriti is asking, we talk about plant-based foods, and while I love that, I wonder one thing. Don't we also kill plants to have them? What's your view on that, please?
We definitely kill plants to have plant foods, but there are certain plants that we do not kill. And these are the ones where we take the fruit. That means if you have fruits, you don't kill the tree. And if you have like botanical fruits like tomatoes and cucumbers, you're not killing the plant. In fact, the plant needs you in order to spread the seeds, right? Therefore, actually human beings are truly frugivores. We are supposed to eat fruits and vegetables, the things that we could eat raw, which the plants actually need us to eat in order to spread their seeds.
Doctor, there's a related question. Vandana saying, but fruits make me bloated.
Right. So anyone who's not used to fiber may have bloating, or if you're mixing too many things like, having a green smoothie with plant-based milk, then you can have bloating. So here's what I suggest, that you follow all the guidelines that you got out of this talk today, and you can review the talk when you get the recording. And then if that doesn't solve the problem, please do join a consultation and don't stay with sickness, because health is so important. It's the only thing that's important in life in a way.
Dr. Mangal is saying, do fermented foods like dosa cause acidity?
No, fermented foods like dosa don't cause acidity. Actually, fermented foods are good for us, but it can cause acidity in certain people. Always listen to your body. If your body says not good for me, don't have it.
Dr. Neelu saying, is there any restriction on the number of fruits per day?
No, but there's a restriction in mixing fruits with other foods or mixing other fruits with melons.
Vivek is saying, I'm having acidity whenever I'm stressed. Turning to vegan can help me?
Definitely. As I told you, stress will go down if you turn vegan. But if it doesn't solve all the problems, please do join our consultations, because right now talking to you, I don't know why you're stressed. But if I were to do a consultation with you, I'd be asking you, why are you stressed, and seeing how I can help you solve that problem.
Dr. Aritra is saying, I feel shortness of breath when I suffer severely from acidity. How to avoid this?
Yeah, because it's heartburn. It's coming in the chest. And that's why we have to do everything that we learned about here so that we don't suffer from acidity anymore.
Okay. Mahela is saying, my husband feels good when he has GERD, but his acidity is still present for him. How to have him satisfied? He was tested for B12 deficiency as well.
Okay, so if you have B12 deficiency, you have to take B12 supplements. And if you want to be satisfied, then you make fabulous plant-based curds recipes on our website.
Okay. Do you have a clinic in UK? Deena is asking, or retreat course to go for in India anywhere?
Yes. So I'm just going to share my screen once again. One sec. Yeah, okay, one sec. Huh?
I just want to answer that we don't have a clinic in UK, but we do online consultations.
Yes, we can do consultations anywhere in the world. Thank you, Reina, for sharing that. And if you go here, then we do have retreats that here we have 21-day retreat in June. And we've had people coming from all over the world for it. Do look it up and see whether this is something for you. Because honestly, I think it's something that can change your life.
We have one in September as well, June.
We have one in September, June and September. Thank you, Reina, for that.
Dr. Atul is asking whether sugar causes acidity.
Yes, it does. Sugar is acidic in our body.
Kriti is saying fresh fruit and green leaves you said together, but isn't it true that we should not mix veggies and fruits together?
Yes, we shouldn't mix veggies and fruits, but we should mix only green leaves and fruits. And that's because, there's a very good book on this called Green for Life by Victoria Butenko, worth a read by everyone. There's also a movie on green smoothies by her son, Sergei Butenko, so that you'll understand why greens have so much nutrient, and nutrients are the spare parts for healing. And one of the best ways, because, we don't go out and chomp on nutrients like cows and horses and other animals do. And therefore, we shouldn't miss the nutrients of raw greens, and a green smoothie is a great way to get them in the morning every single day.
Dr. Sheila saying our grandparents had milk and coffee. My parents have all this. And why we need to stop having all this? They had veggies and pulses, normal food. I understand many people have benefited from your programs, but does that mean they are wrong in having that diet?
Yes, they are wrong in the sense that if God didn't intend us to have it, then it doesn't matter which grandparents had it or didn't have it. But truly, I'm old enough to be a grandparent. And when I was young, milk was not easily available. So And paneer was a way to rescue spoilt milk, and cheese was not available and in India easily, And so these things before refrigeration were not eaten in the large quantities that they are eaten today. I live in Oroville. I moved here 24 years ago. And when I moved here, I would see the slaughterhouses opening only on Sundays because people ate non-veg on Sundays. But now, and everyone in Oroville was largely vegetarian. But now there's meat in every meal, or at least meat or cheese or eggs, something in every meal of every person almost. That means we're eating much more than before. Now, you can smoke a few cigarettes a day and get away without, you may die before you get cancer. It's possible. That doesn't make smoking good. Same way, if your grandparents had tea and they got away with it, and really your grandparents didn't have any disease, which is rare, then that's good. But that doesn't mean it makes tea and coffee good. Does that make sense to you?
Dr. Neetu is saying, I have osteoporosis. I'm on SHARAN's lifestyle since 4 years. So how can I improve my bones?
By making sure that your vitamin D is up to the mark and avoiding acid foods. And if that's not working, take a consultation. We'll make sure that you avoid osteoporosis.
Dr. Kalyan is asking, hi, I'm getting shortness of breath due to excessive bloating and an episode of reflux after belching. I eat non-veg often.
So you have already said the answer to your question, right? Please follow the guidelines that you learned today and see the results. As I said, Veena, Reina, and Captain Pinto changed overnight and started seeing results. So can you?
Dr. Surinder is asking, can we have peanut butter, cashew cheese, or nut butter, etc.?
Why not?
Parul.
But we, in general, we don't have more than 10 nuts a day. And I won't go into the reasons for that right now because we're running out of time.
Doctors already told you about all the things that we have for SHARAN to support you. And from all of us at Team SHARAN, we just want to remind you that truly it is health that is real wealth and not pieces of silver and gold. Okay, so wishing you and your loved ones great health always. Thank you.